If you're an Indian abroad and you're missing ghar ka khana, there's always Haldirams to the rescue. In this episode of the Indian Billionaires Co, we are going to find out how Haldirams went from a small town in Bikaner to occupying premium space in global department stores, and the business lessons that we can learn from this iconic family-run brand. In the 1920s in Bikaner was born Ganga Bhishan Agarwal, who would go on to change his family's destiny forever. His mother lovingly called him Haldiram. He was that responsible Agarwal Sahab ka beta that all the adults loved. But among his large extended family, Haldiram was closest to his aunt, Vicky Bua. Whenever Vicky Bua visited her maternal home, she made a lip-smacking bhujia that everyone in the family would drool over. Haldiram was determined to learn Vicky Bua's famous bhujia. The Agarwal family was already in business, but they were not very well off. So Haldiram decided it would be a good idea to sell this bhujia. This bhujia was so good that it became an instant hit in Bikaner. But Haldiram was not satisfied. He was a keen observer and understood the taste of the Rajasthani community really well. Instead of besan, he decided to start making bhujia with mot dal, which was a Rajasthani staple. But this was harder to fry. This didn't dissuade Haldiram, who spent days perfecting the flavor, texture, and crispiness quotient. Once he was happy with the bhujia he created, he started selling it to people, and it was an instant hit. But he knew that his recipe would get out, it would get duplicated, and then there would be nothing special about it. So he decided to do what any marketing guru would advise you in the 21st century: create brand value. He decided to name the bhujia Dungar Sev after the then Maharaja Dungar Singh, so people would immediately associate the bhujia with royalty. What a class move! After spending days perfecting his product, he knew that his bhujia was top-notch. So instead of pricing it at 2 rupees per kilo, he priced it at 5 rupees per kilo. And anyone who's eaten Haldiram Bhujia knows that it's addictive. So once people loved the taste, they didn't mind paying more for it. Fast forward to the 1950s, when Haldiram made bhujia for a friend's son's wedding, and this led Haldiram to open a shop in Kolkata. Haldiram had 3 sons, Rameshwar Lal, Moolchand and Satidas. The shop in Kolkata started doing so well that Haldiram put his son Rameshwar Lal in charge of this shop. Moolchand handled the already well-established shop in Bikaner, and Satidas shadowed his brother Rameshwar Lal in the Kolkata shop. The Haldiram story now enters the 3rd generation of businessmen. Of all of Haldiram's sons, Moolchand's children have driven Haldiram to where it is today. Moolchand had 4 sons and 1 daughter: Shiv Kishan, Shiv Ratan, Manohar Lal and Madhu San, and a daughter named Saraswati Devi. Moolchand's eldest son, Shiv Kishan, was a genius in the kitchen and was helping his uncle Rameshwar Lal in Kolkata, while Moolchand's 3rd son, Manohar Lal, was the first man in the family to get a college education. Whenever we talk about the Haldiram legacy, it's always about the men at the forefront, taking all the major decisions. But the women are the reason they could build the business at this scale. Even Haldiram's expansion into Maharashtra was because of Moolchand's only daughter Saraswati Devi. Saraswati Devi wanted to run a shop of her own and asked her father Moolchand to give her husband Banshilal a shop too. Moolchand was not unreasonable, so he gave it some thought. They needed to set up a new branch. So Saraswati Devi and Banshilal headed to Nagpur to set up a new shop under the guidance of her brother Shiv Kishan. Shiv Kishan, like his grandfather, was quick to understand the pulse of the people. He noticed that people in Nagpur loved sweets. So he decided to make sweets like Kaju Katli and the famous Bengali sweets like Rasmalai and Rasgulla that he was never allowed to make in Kolkata. People in Nagpur absolutely loved the sweets, and Haldiram started becoming a popular name there. At the same time, Shiv Kishan noticed that they enjoyed eating idlis and dosas, and he expanded his business to sell just that. Over time, he won over the people of Nagpur, who gradually started buying Haldiram Bhujia and the snacks too. After establishing themselves in Nagpur, Shiv Kishan was filled with a drive to go to Delhi, but he knew that he would need help. He started to see a spark in his brother Manohar Lal. So in 1983, they opened their first branch in Chandni Chowk, Delhi. Like the Marwaris would say, Manohar Lal's college education was full paisa vasool as he brought in new ideas for the business, like the need to start using modern machinery to produce food at scale and investing in branded packaging at a time many brands did not even give it a second thought. Moolchand, heading the shop in Bikaner, realized that with this rapid expansion, things were about to get ugly. So they split. Later, Rameshwar Lal, Moolchand's brother in Kolkata, started to make inroads into Delhi, which went against the verbal agreement that the family members had made when they split up. What was worse was that he used the same name as the Delhi branch, creating a branding issue as well. So a story that started with a family that worked together ended with a 15-year-long court case between the Kolkata family and the Delhi family. And in 2013, Delhi's Haldirams became the sole owner of the trademark Haldiram's Bhujia Wala. But wait a minute, remember that Moolchand had 4 sons? So what happened to Shiv Ratan and Madhu San? So during the split of businesses, Shiv Kishan retained the Nagpur business, Madhu San joined Manohar Lal in expanding the Delhi business, and Shiv Ratan was put in charge of the business in Bikaner. But Shiv Ratan believed that he got a bad deal, and to add to it, they had to operate only in their own geographical zones, which didn't allow him to expand. The Delhi arm of Haldiram Bhujia Wala was already over 200 crore in business in the late 80s. While Shiv Ratan's business was less than 60 crore. This created tensions among the brothers, and Shiv Ratan finally decided to exit the family business in the 1980s. This gave birth to the brand we all know as Bikaji. Haldiram's now consists of almost a dozen companies over 3 geographical zones internationally, and in 2020 they collectively crossed the $1 billion mark in sales. Its direct competitor Bikaji launched an IPO in 2022. And according to data from a survey from Frost and Sullivan commissioned during Bikaji's IPO, both the Haldiram's companies combined currently hold a 48.5% share in India's ethnic snacks market and 8.6% share in the Western snacks market. And as a combined entity, Haldiram's revenue was Rs 9,000 crore in the financial year 2022. Manohar Lal, the chairman of Haldiram's, revealed that they are planning to go public within the next 2 to 3 years. But before they launch an IPO, there are a number of issues that Haldiram needs to address. Since it's a family-run business, there are people working with them for decades. So when new professionals join the business, it's really difficult for them to gain the trust of the workers as they are seen as outsiders. Also, for someone new joining the business, Haldiram does not have systems in place for the easy transfer of knowledge to flow from one person to the other. And lastly, but most important of all, is a succession plan. To sustain this incredible legacy, Haldiram needs to come up with a succession plan for the business. Despite all of its problems, Haldiram is still an iconic name. And it's incredible that one little boy's determination and ambition not only built them a $1 billion company, but also gave us one of the best snacks of our lifetimes.